Good evening, everyone. We will just wait a couple of minutes to let the other attendees to join us. Thank you for your waiting. As I see the number of attendees keep increasing, so we will wait another minute, then we will start. Thank you for your waiting. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our EDU 2030 Future of Education series. Today, this is Omar. I will just show you a quick guide how to log into Mentimeter and how to add the code for the Microsoft Translator. Just post it on the chat right now. So you can use the code to log into Mentimeter and to join Microsoft Translator for non-English speaker. I'm just posting it right now on the chat, and also you can see it on the screen. You can use the code, or you can scan the QR code also from your mobile. Also, I've just posted on the chat. Anything related to this session is recorded and it will be uploaded on our portal community.edu.ac.ae. Also, I'll just post it on the chat so you can get the link from there. If you are not registered on community.edu.ac.ae, you can register now. That's it from my end. Just use the chat for any technical inquiry, and you can post your inquiry regarding the session or regarding to the topic on the Q&A box. Thank you. Dr. Rubina, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Umar. Good everybody. Very nice to see you all. It is such a pride to speak in front of people who are all educators, who are all teachers, and are here to learn to become better, reflective, active teachers. So my pleasure. I'm Rubina Qureshi. I am in Humanities and Social Sciences in Abu Dhabi University. And I've been engaged in innovation entrepreneurship after my graduation from Stanford University, and I've been doing my sociology teaching in the university as well. So very warm welcome to all of you, and I'm very happy to connect with you today on this topic. Today, the title of the presentation of Module 2 that you see is Innovative Teaching and Learning. Innovative Teaching and Learning. But basically, what we are going to do is we are going to focus on the key principles of innovative teaching and learning. So we might not, if focus on the way we can do innovative teaching and learning, the specific methods, because it is coming in the subsequent modules. Today we'll be focusing on what are the core principles to be innovative in our teaching and learning, and hence the major focus for today's session will remain on growth mindsets and creative confidence. We'll be talking about we'll be kind of engaged ourselves in some imaginary experiments on growth mindsets. So we'll be kind of doing some experiments as if we are in the laboratory. We will be doing those imaginary experiments of growth mindsets. We'll do four experiments. And after that, we'll be discussing some of the strategies and some of the principles, I would say, which can set a good foundation to be an innovative teacher. And finally, the best part of the presentation, which Ms. Dua and myself will be kind of focusing on, will be virtual role plays. So we'll be doing some virtual role plays to apply our learning of growth mindsets and creative confidence. So this is the plan for the day. I hope you're excited about this and you all are ready to be with me in those 4 experimentations that we are going to do for growth mindsets. So here you go. My first experiment, and I know I can't see your faces, I know I can't see your hands, and that's why I said we will be doing imaginary kind of experimentation. And I will request all of you, wherever you have the responses, please use chat box. I can see your chat box. I can refer to it while we are talking. My first experiment, and I would request everybody to please do it, is that can you raise your right hand as high as you can? Listen to my instructions. Can you raise your right hand as high as you can? And I can already imagine many of you are raising your hand and kind of stretching yourself, and you're trying your best to do it. So Nafis is confirming in the chat box that yes, we are doing it. And I would now say thank you so much. Thank you, Dania, for doing this. Thank you, Nancy and Nutella and Susan, and so many people are saying that yes, you have done it. So put your hand down and let me go to the second step of the first experiment. So now I want you to raise your same right hand, but this time higher than what you did in the first time. Higher than what you did in the first time. Yeah. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so I can see many people are doing it. All the yes and then is showing me that you are doing it. My question here is that how can none of you raise your hand the highest when that it could possibly go when the first time I asked you to do so? Remember, first time I asked you to raise your hand as high as you can, but the second time when I asked you to do a higher than what you did, so you try to stretch even higher, right? So let's do some thinking around it. Let's try to do, as Umar has already set up for us, the Mentimeter, the link. So I would like everybody to click this link or go to the code, and you will see the first. So this is the Mentimeter link here. You have the code. My first question is that what was stopping us? Why? How can none of you raise your hand the highest that it could possibly go when the first time I asked you to do it? Okay, so I can already see that some people want to put less efforts, unnecessary efforts. Okay, what else? And I know you're settling down with your Mentimeters. I'll give you some time for that. Yeah. Okay, lack of challenge, less efforts, motivation and inspiration. Okay. Lack of challenge, mindset. I know. Yeah, sometimes we like to live in our comfort zone, right? We want to, okay, somebody said, raise your hand, but you know that you could do higher than what you did. So I think comfort zone, right? We all love to live in a comfort zone. We all, yes, or no objective. Okay, so it says unnecessary efforts. not aware of why we were doing it. I think that's a very important point. Laziness, I like that, laziness. Yeah, you see here, okay. Uh, okay, yeah, this is important. So I think most of your answers are saying that laziness, we like to have our own comfort zone. Yeah, look at the biggest kind of points here, and comfort zone comes as a very prominent one, right? We all like our comfort zone. I would park this discussion here, and I would move to the second experiment, and then we will do the discussion together on these aspects of all the points that you're writing: less effort, comfort zone, laziness, lack of motivation, lack of incentives, and all these aspects that you're writing, which are extremely important. Yeah. So my second experiment is this, and I again want you to do this experiment with me. Yeah. This time you can see these 9 dots here. I want you to connect the dots, and I'm pretty sure many of you must have done this in the past, so I understand that. All what I want you to do is connect the dots with no more than 4 straight lines without lifting your hand from the paper. Read the instructions carefully. Connect the dots with no more than 4 straight lines without lifting your hand from the paper. And I will give you a few minutes to do this exercise. Okay, so while you're doing this exercise, I also want you to keep thinking that what strategy you are using to do this exercise, to do this activity. Yeah, I know, Rabi, it's not easy. It doesn't work sometimes. Yeah. And let's think that why it is not working. Marwa, you are right. You hit the nail right there. The thinking outside the box. Yeah, think, Bob, and imagine. Afra saying it doesn't work. Yeah, I know. It's very hard to connect dots with no more than 4 straight lines and without lifting your hand from the paper. Somebody, Afra, is saying that think and concentrate. Paula is saying done. Okay, that's great. Paula, I'm going to ask you to tell me what worked, and Afra, I'm going to ask you that why it was not working. Nagam is saying done. Okay, Swapna is saying ice breaking. So let's talk about it here. I would like you to ask first. I would like to ask people who could not do it. Can you tell me in the chat box? Okay, Fatima, you said it's challenging. Can you tell me in the chat box why it is not working? What is the problem? Yeah, the line is not working. Maybe. What else? What else was hindering you to accomplish it? Amar, can you tell me why it was not working? Narmin is saying that we should do it from outside the box. Would you like to write your responses here and say, what was your strategy to accomplish the task? What did you do to those of you who said that, yes, you have done it, it worked? Okay, Amar is saying it needed more lines. Yes, Amar, I know 4 lines is not enough. Okay, I see a bright and bold point here that, thinking outside the box, yeah? And often we hesitate, thinking outside the box because we are routined in thinking in some or the other way, right? Yeah. So it was difficult. Some people are saying, but we need more lines. Okay. So follow the instruction. Okay, somebody said follow the instruction. That is important. But still, I can see the biggest, here is thinking outside the box, creative thinking, difficult, challenging. Yeah, I know. Okay, think beyond the instructions. That's an interesting comment. And follow the instruction. Imagine. Okay. So it looks like thinking outside the box is a popular kind of response. Yeah, very nice. Deepan is saying dot to dot not possible, draw outside. Yeah, I think it is extremely important to do this, I did not say that you have to be in the box, right? I just said use 4 lines, connect the dots, do not lift the pen. Yeah, many of you who could do this because you thought outside the box. You lifted your pen and you meant outside the box and you kind of, drew and accomplished the task. So I think clever. Sometimes we have to think beyond the instructions. Marwa, very nice. Yeah, go over the fence. It's safe. Excellent. I mean, I want to talk here a little bit about routine thinking and how do we think outside the box. There are many people in the world who get up in the morning, who go to the bathroom, take the toothbrush, take the toothpaste, brush their teeth and come out. Nobody ever think about that, how this experience can get better, because we have been doing this for last so many years. It has become part of our system. It has become part of our routine. We never try to think outside the box, right? We never try to think beyond the routine thinking. And then there are few people who must have thought that, oh, how can this experience can get better? How can, arthritis patients, brush, their teeth in a comfortable way, for example? Or how can this become an attractive thing for children, for example? And there comes the electronic toothbrush. I would like to give one more example. We all drive. I'm pretty sure many of you in this, 277 people sitting in this room, I'm pretty sure many of you drive, right? We have been driving for years and years. Every time we hold the steering, start the car, we drive. I live in Abu Dhabi. I often have to travel to Dubai. It takes me an hour and a half. I've been driving for last 10 years now. I never thought anything. I just start my car and I drive. Yeah. Now, if you see the statistics, we all know how many people die with car accidents every year. How much fatigue, tiredness, people are exhausted, pollution, smoke, all this, issues. But none of us, thought about anything about thinking anything beyond what we were doing, right? But then there were some people like Amar and like Marwa and like Fatima who kind of, thought beyond and outside the box, like Elon Musk, I would say, who said, something needs to be done. And there comes your driverless cars. There comes your Hyperloop, all this technology that comes into place just because the people start thinking outside the box. Often we remain in the box because there are many reasons that we remain in the box, right? Can somebody tell me what are some of the reasons that we do not like to think outside the box? We do not like to take risks. Safety, okay. We feel safe in what we do. Yes, Marwa, fear of failure, absolutely. Lavina is saying the same thing. It is fear of failure that we have. We are scared. We have our comfort zone. Excellent. Noor is saying judgmental people. Noor, I like what you said. We are afraid of what people will think about us, if we do differently, right? Yeah, we are fear of unknown. Excellent. Yeah, some of us are the creatures of a habit. Yeah, we have got certain habits and we don't want to change our habit. That is absolutely important. Yes, so many of you are saying the lack of trust, insecurity, lack of fear of failure. I think failure plays a very important role in our life, right? We often think that, I don't want to try something that will not work. I don't want to do that. No, let me do it this way. So we do things in one way and that way becomes our right way. Yeah, we are very afraid. Rabi, you're extremely right that, Naila is saying judgment and Rabi is saying that evaluation, because we are afraid what people will judge us. People say, oh, he's crazy. He's talking about, driverless car, or he's talking about flying taxi. He's crazy. Which world he lives in, or and she also, right? We are afraid of people. We are afraid of challenges. We are also afraid of challenges, right? We are not very used to of difficulties. We'll always think that people who put these roles have experience. And yes, that's right, Amma, absolutely. Yeah, if Tasim is saying that safety measures, fixed mindset. Amjad, I like what you said, fixed mindset. And we are going to talk about it. Dorothy, you're saying that judgmental, and that's absolutely right. I think all of these points that you're writing, I like, Lavina, what you said, that not confident in ourselves, right? Often we don't have confidence, how will it go? And also because we experience small failure and we think that no, I can't do that. This is not me. I'm not the creative type. So if I tell you, okay, how many of you are creative type, many of you say, oh, I'm not the one, you will move out from the door because you feel that, you are not the creative type, you are not the artist, because you always fear that, oh, what if I ask you to kind of, draw? Or if I ask you, how many of you are a singer here? I'm pretty sure out of this 286 people, many of us are very good bathroom singers, right? But what if I ask you, okay, singing, would you sing a song? You might not try to do this because the 285 people are looking at you, and therefore, you don't want people to judge you, right? So we are facing of people judgment. We are fearing, how people will, comment. We are fearing that, how sometimes, we don't know what will be the end. So if I tell you, okay, you swim very nice, in the shallow pool, let's try in the deep today. How many of you will try it? Or if I ask you that, oh, this skydiving is so much fun, let's try it. How many of you will join me? Not that you know that, it is, you can't do it, right? It is fear of unknown. You don't know what will be that experiment like, right? Self-efficacy, Farana, excellent point, excellent term. And we are going to talk about self-efficacy. Then how can we as teachers develop this self-efficacy in our students? How can we make them build their creative confidence, take risks? Let's do it. Yeah, I really like this picture so much, and I'm pretty sure you will see this. It says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So do one thing every day that scares you. Interesting, isn't it? And look at the picture here. Yeah, the fish from this small, pond, the jar from the big jar, jumping to the big jar. How many of us are really, try something that we have never tried before? And we know that, it might not work, but can we take a chance? Maybe it will work. Yeah, maybe I can do it. We always have difficulty taking those challenges, those risks, yeah. So somebody rightly mentioned above self-efficacy. How do we start believing on ourselves that, we can do it? Let's give a chance. Let's give ourselves an opportunity that, to try out new things, and that will be very, very important. I like what all you're writing. Believe in your ability. And today what we are going to focus is that how do we help our students to believe in themselves? How do we help them to build trust on themselves? Because if they trust on themselves, if they have that comfort zone of trying out new things and taking risks, that's where the whole purpose of our teaching and learning starts, right? So our teaching and learning is to prepare our learners to be critical, reflective, active citizens, people, human being, right? And I think unless and until you have the courage to try out new things, unless and until you trust your abilities, it is important. So I like somebody saying that by praising them and encouraging them, and that's a very, very good response. Can we try out this question now? So this question is, how can we encourage and motivate our students to think outside the box? I already see somebody say that, praise them. Okay, Naila is saying encourage them. I like it. You're saying that trust them. I think that's very important, that we start kind of, trusting our students and their abilities, make them feel safe. I think I cannot agree with you more. I honestly feel that as educators, our biggest responsibility to help our learners how to feel safe in a classroom, yeah, how to praise them, and yes, provide them opportunities, absolutely. Provide them opportunities to take risks, to try out things, to challenge themselves, build their confidence. Very, very interesting responses I can see here. I like, Florence, you're writing in the chat box, I know, but you're saying that let them know that life is not about being right. I love it. Thank you so much, Florence, for bringing this up. Life is not all about being right, right? Life is beyond being right. And I think the experience matters so much. Help them to reach their goals by guiding them and motivate them. Yeah. I still see that, trust is the biggest element, and encourage and the praise are the some of the extremely important. I think the value that you're bringing in your conversation here is that believing in our students. Let's ask ourselves. I honestly, Dr. Reem, salute you for this. And it says, give them agency. Yeah. How can they become the change agents? How can they lead some change and some innovation and some thinking which is not the routine thinking? Maybe with things which are revolutionarized, maybe transformative things. Yeah, how can we give them power? Yes, Christine, I like what you write, is that how can we give them power to be the agency of change, right? I really think that allow them to be honest, to be in an honest atmosphere. Absolutely. Excellent point, Marwa. Develop their metacognition skills. Let them think how to think. Rather than giving them the fish in their hand or food in their hand and asking them to eat it, how can we teach them to grow their own food? Yeah, how to make them catalysts, Swapna is saying, yeah? Make them catalysts, make them change agents. And this doesn't come with the memorization approaches. This doesn't come with a lecture method. This might not come through, giving them the content and asking them to gurgitate and regurgitate their content. Often we as teachers do this, right? We give them content and we want them to memorize it, to make them part of their DNA, their system. And there comes a day which popular quote unquote exam day, and exam day we ask them to regurgitate. Regurgitation, right? We ask them to regurgitate. There's a very interesting book, and I want all these teachers to have access to this book. I'm very easily available. Is philosopher and author Paulo Freire. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure many of you might have seen this book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. And he talks about this whole notion of how we think that students are empty vessels. Put as much as you want to put in the empty vessels. And then, we ask them to regurgitate in the exam day. Sometimes, so Paulo Freire in this book, this German philosopher, he says that, their education is seen as banking method. You know how it works in banking methods, right? You go and deposit money, right? And then whenever you want, you go and you credit your money, you take your money. So in that way, education is seen as a banking method, is saying, right? So we go, we deposit the knowledge, and we ask them. But that doesn't. Is it something making them all what you are saying in your chat box, right? So in your chat box, you are saying that make them agency, make them a catalyst. You said make them change agents. We say that make them critical thinkers. Why, and how? Not more than why. How is it possible in our world where we are constrained with so many things like curriculum and boards and exams and all these things? Within all these limitations, how can we trust their abilities? How can we challenge their critical thinking? How can we make sure that they are engaged in innovation? How can we make sure that they are able to say what they want to say and question what they want to question, right? Many times we don't even allow our learners to question. And I think questioning is the first step, in my opinion, to the inquiry world, right? So they question and they find and they do their inquiry to learn from various experiences, from various ways. I would love to move from this page, otherwise I can talk about, yes, inquiry-based and concept-based learning. Thank you so much for bringing this, Marwa. And I like what Dr. Reem is saying at the end, is it inspire them to invest their bank accounts we gave them and is useful and meaningful and authentic projects. Yeah, project-based learning could be one of the very, very important way. Expose them to real life case studies. Excellent point. I want to share my story here, and then I will ask Ms. Dua to share one story, and then I would like you to share your story. And today we are going to share our stories, very short stories. Please make it very, very short. And I will request Umar to unmute yourself, whoever wants to speak, so you can unmute yourself. You can raise your hands when you want to speak, and you can then, Umar can unmute yourself, and then you can talk about it. So today we are going to talk about the stories where people lost their confidence. And I want to share a story. It is not my personal story, but a story of one of my students. So one of my students one day told me that, very intelligent student, by the way, so this boy told me that when I was a child, I could not speak till age 8. And when I went to school, everything was normal. It was just, by nature that he could not speak till age 8. So he started drawing things. So whenever he had to communicate, he drew and he communicated with people. So the drawing part became his lifestyle, part of his body, right? So one day in one art classroom, he forgot to take his art kits. And some teachers are very particular about the bringing the stationery in the class and bringing the resources and all. So this teacher made him stand outside the classroom for a couple of hours or whatever number of hours. Now all the boys who passed by from corridor, they started making fun of him. He said, it was such a difficult day of my life that I started hating art. I could not pick my colors back. And in my innovation class, when I was asking them to make the storyboard, and I asked them to draw in their storyboards, he said, I will not draw. And if you will force me to draw, I will leave your class. Look at the damage one teacher, one incident, one experience can make in somebody's life, right? So look at the damage to the creative confidence which happened with this child. I would quickly ask Dua, if you want to share a very quick story, and then I will ask my audience if they want to raise their hands. So I'm giving you thinking time by doing this. I want you to raise your hand.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
any story that has kind of lost your contributed in losing your creative confidence. Yes, Ms. Dua, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rubina. I'd love to share one of the stories that happened with me when in my childhood. That's when I was primary school. What I can remember that we were in the music class, but before the teacher arrived to the class, we were singing as kids. We were singing, and I think I was grade 6. And when the miss entered the class, I didn't see her. When my friends just they stopped singing, and I kept singing because I didn't see her. I can remember that I was really embarrassed when I see the teacher, but what she said, she told me, do you think your voice is nice? That's why you are singing? Singing is not for anyone. You have to learn the standards of singing. It was an embarrassed situation for a primary student. And then I stopped trying even to sing in front of anyone, even though I have a nice voice, by the way. So now Mr. Rubina, I built back my confidence, but in that back then, it was really hard experience for me.
Yeah. I can understand, how it must
So
have.
now, even if I'm now a teacher, I try always, when I see anyone trying to draw or to sing, I respect, and I just keep, oh, it's nice, even, like, because I don't want to repeat what happened with me. So I can understand that we play really vital role in this. Thank you, Ms. Rubina.
Thank you, Dua. This is very inspirational story, and I'm pretty sure I can empathize, what must have gone through on you. Okay, let's hear from our great teachers. Anybody who would like to share any story, can you please raise your hand so Umar can unmute yourself?
We have Hima, Lovina, Christine, Florence.
Yeah.
Just allow first Hima.
Okay.
I'll just promote you to panelist, so you can unmute your mic. You are allowed to talk right now, Hima.
Go ahead, Hima.
Hima, you can unmute yourself and you can talk.
Okay. Hello, my name is Hema, and when I was grade 5, I was excellent writer. I used to write, and I had great imagination in that age. I used to write short stories, and every competition in the school I win, and even in the country, I get also. I always win competitions, and I had the abilities to be a good writer. So one day, I write the story, and it was competition on Republic because I'm from Bosnia and Herzegovina, ex-Yugoslavia. And my English teacher or writing teacher was very angry at me because I again win competition. She said, okay, you give other children chance. Why you don't give other children chance? You always have to win. I told you to not apply for this competition and you apply it. And I thought at that time that I did something very wrong. And I stopped writing, and after I didn't write till I didn't reach university, when I realized again that that was not my mistake, and that is my talent, and that I could continue in writing.
Yeah, very sad. Thank you, Hima. Thank you for sharing this inspiration story. I think I'm pretty sure, and interestingly that, all these damages are done in people's life by educated people, by educators, right? And we are one of them. I mean, I'm not blaming any one person. I'm just saying, as a whole community of educators, we are the ones, who damage, our students' creative confidence. There's a nice, so Umar, while the other next person, who is the next person you would like to?
We have Lovina. We can allow Lovina.
Luvina, yeah. While Luvina is unmuting, I just want to read. Claudia is written in the chat box. She said, I was not good in PE classes. I even hated more when the teacher made laugh at me in middle school. It happens, right? One comment, one experience, one incident that happens with you by, any of such kind, it is enough to break your confidence. Thank you, Claudia, for sharing this. Yes, Luvina.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I come from India, and in India, we place a lot of importance. Is it echoing?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we place a lot of importance on academic achievements.
Yeah.
Up until grade 7, my mom was with me in India, and I was like one of the first 5 in class. But afterwards, when she came here to Abu Dhabi and I was left alone in the boarding school, things changed for me. One of the first things which changed was I failed in actually all the subjects except for English. Except for English, I failed in every subject. And that was a huge, huge disgrace. And I think more than teachers, it was my dad and the way he reacted to me, which created the dent in my confidence. Because as soon as he saw the report card in the holidays, my holidays was no longer something which was enjoyable. He kept me out of the house. I was made to stand out of the house on the veranda, where I got scolded very badly. And I stood there for, I think, the rest of the evening. It took me a while, but afterwards, actually, when I say while, I'm underplaying it. It took me 2.5 years.
Wow. Wow.
And by the time, and when I was doing my second year in grade 9, I got the first mark in mathematics. And that was when I realized everything was just in my head. And I mean, I've got to pick up myself. Nobody's going to help me pick up myself.
Wow.
And it was my teachers who
Yeah.
actually pushed me up after that moment.
Ravina, what you are saying to me is giving me goosebumps. Honestly, I have tears in my eyes when you said, what happened with you, and now it is. You're right. You're right. It is not only teachers. It is around us, our family, our parents, our siblings, our friends, us, and we are one of them, of course, because everyone expects 100% from the child. If 80% not acceptable, 90% not. Why not 95%? That child comparing, that child gets 90%, how come you get 85%? Everybody see that the only success parameter is the grades and the numbers and percentages. And I think it is really sad that those dents, the cracks, these dents are like dent in the glass. Yeah, I if you see the glass and there is a crack, and that crack has happened, no matter what you do, that crack will not go. You may get other exposures, other life moves on. We all know, time is a big hill, and it is always like this. But it moves on. But the crack always remains there, right? And I think that is the damage that any educator, any parent, any sibling, any friend, anyone in the society can do it. Can we not become those educators who crack, who put those dents which Lavina is talking? As much as I want to hear all of your stories, I would be very, very happy. I'm little conscious of the time, so I'll move on from there. And a little two chats, if I can quickly read. Somebody is saying here, this happens because parents use their children's success in school to boost, but it is bad practice. We should encourage every child to be the best. Yeah. I love the fact that teachers help you in regaining. Thank you, Dr. Reem, for bringing this positive aspect of it. I'm saying that I'm still afraid in giving my opinion in public when my teachers stopped me in between, that I was wrong and don't know the subjects when I was sharing my opinion in grade 6, and all the class was making fun of it. The shatter my confidence, and still I stop in between whenever I have to present and feel nervous. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's so. Let's answer this question that you see in the chat box here. How do people just judge us, and why do we opt out? Yeah, why people judge us, and why do we opt out? So somebody is saying that based on appearance or what they might have heard about us from others. Okay, min al-fal. I can read min al-fal, but I don't know the meaning of it. Dr. Ghani will take my classes from the next week, so I will know it. If you can please translate it into English, I can read it. Appearance, yeah, the way you see and you kind of judge people to protect themselves. I like to protect themselves, right? So by doing that, you want to keep your control. Yeah, you want to keep your upper hand. First impression, underestimated. Jealousy, I don't know about that. Way we speak, our accent, treatment. People judge us for sure. Some judge us because they are used to, and some because they need to feel better. Sometimes they think they judge because they are not knowing they hurt us. Yeah, I think that's right. Sometimes they don't know. Noah is saying in the chat box that lack of love. That's interesting. Sometimes because the way our parents and us and all of us, the way we grew up, we have always seen, for example, if a father who grew up in a way that his father always hit him, let's say, that typical type of parenting. I don't know what kind of parenting. There's always titles for parenting, right? So that kind of parenting where hitting and beating is the way to grow children up, and they bring disciplines. Corporal punishments bring discipline. I think that's what they have seen in their life and experience in their life. And that's exactly what they want to do with their own children, right? So I think all of these points are extremely important. And yes, I like Adil, what you're saying. The stereotype attitude is one of the ways, right? So let's look at this picture. This is my favorite one. Honestly, look at the first one where the child looks like hardly 6-7 months old. Look at the excitement the child has to learn. He is with Apple. He is excited. He's engrossed. Nobody's there, but he's completely engaged in whatever he's seeing. I don't know whatever he's seeing, but it is just that the child is completely engaged. But when you grow up, look at the girl in the school and look at the people at work. We like kind of, losing our confidence. Yeah. There was a researcher, I tell you a story. I'm a big time storyteller, by the way. More than a teacher, I'm a storyteller. Or teacher is a storyteller, that's what I would say. So there was a researcher who goes to kindergarten and asks everybody, how many of you are teachers? How many of you are artists? So everybody raises two hands, says, I'm an artist, I'm an artist. All the children, kind of shouting and yelling and raising both the hands and saying, I'm a teacher and I'm a teacher, right? I'm an artist and I'm an artist. He asks how many of you are artists. So everybody's saying, I'm an artist. Then he goes to grade 1 and says, how many of you are artists? Many children raises both the hands, I'm an artist, I'm an artist. And then he goes to grade 2 and he asks how many of are artists. Many children still says, artist, I'm an artist. He goes to grade 5 and asks, how many of you are artists here? And he gets few hands up and, then he gradually goes to grade 8 and 9 and 10 and 12. And so as bigger grades he goes, he asks, how many of you are artists? So when he goes to grade 12, let's say, so only one shaky hands, comes up and says, I'm an artist. So this researcher questions. He said, what happens to all the artists? Where did they grow? Where did they go? In the kindergarten, all the children were artists with two hands up. And now when I have grade 12, only one shaky hand for the artist. Where did all the artists go? What happened to my artist? And this is exactly what is depicted here, right? Because as we grow older, we grow our fears in our hearts, Christian, absolutely. Mostly because what people in our surrounding would say, right? How will they say? So we are confident, nothing scares us kids. But when we grow up, we develop this fear of other people being, judging us and other people kind of, saying things to us, which is not something that we want to hear. So we remain in our shell, we remain in our zone, and we do not move on. I want to move from here. I think we talked about our creative confidence, so we'll not do this one. I want to move to the fourth experiment. And I want to say, leave this experiment part, in a with a very, very strong message. Look at this fish. And I tell you that this is the fish. It is highly, highly stinky. Bad smell, very bad smell. And fish, anyhow, your fish smells, right? And this fish, imagine that there is a very bad smell in this fish. Now my question is, and my question is very tough here. Shaima has already given the answer. And I'm saying to you, how many of you would like to keep this fish in your pockets or in your bags, in your beautiful Gucci bags for 1 hour, for 2 hours, for 5 hours, for 1 day, for 5 days, for a week, for a month, for a year, for your whole life? Can I see your responses here in the Menti? Would you like to keep this stinky fish in your nice, beautiful Gucci bag or in your pockets? If you're a man, would you like to keep this? I like there is one yes at least. Yeah. So all the chat box that we can see here people are saying, no, 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 no. This is not something that I would like to do. This is not, I would not for sure, not for sure, not. Stephen is saying here, right? Amal is saying never, never. Ruba, Naila, Naveen, everybody's saying, maybe she's saying not for a single minute. And I want to tell you that our fears for failures are like a stinky fish. The more you keep in your pocket, the more it smells. If you keep it for one day in your pocket, this fish, it will smell bad. But if you keep the same fish for next 1 month or for next 1 year, nobody will come close to you. I can guarantee you for that. Yeah, you would not. Maybe she's saying not for a single minute. Okay, Shaima is saying, please ask the one who want to fish in the pocket for next one. No, I don't want to ask. It's fine. 5 people are saying they would like to keep the fish in their pocket. It's fine. Fear of failure is like stinky fish. People don't like to keep, a stinky fish in the pocket. Earlier you throw it, the release you get from the smell. You are out of all this dirt and all this filthiness in your pocket or in your life, right? So it is important that we kind of throw our fears as fast as possible, as early as possible, and teach our students also to throw those fears as fast as possible. Yeah, I have a very, very important. So failure is not a setback, it's an opportunity to grow. I have a very important video here. I would hold this discussion for a while. I will move further. And I would like to, request Ms. Dua to play this video. But before she plays and while she's, starting the video, before she starts, I want to tell you, this is a video, he's David Kelly. Now, David Kelly and Tom Kelly are 2 brothers, and I think it is very important to know them, because if you talk about creative confidence and if you don't talk about David Kelly and Tom Kelly, it will be incomplete. They are the founder of the institute called EDU. I don't know how many of you have ever heard this name, EDU. If you go to Palo Alto in Silicon Valley, there is an institute of that's called EDU. So IDEO is a hub of innovation. A lot of innovation comes out from there. This Apple mouse and all these other inventions. So Stanford University and IDEO work hand in hand. So Stanford students go for the internship to IDEO and they get exposure to work in IDEO. And all these big brands and these companies, they go to IDEO and they ask them to redesign their experiences and all. So we are listening to David Kelly's story. He is basically telling 3 stories in this video. I would like all of you to please take notes while you are listening to this story. And we will talk about all these 3 stories. He's basically talking about our second objective, which is strategies to develop growth mindset. How can we develop growth mindset, right? So yes, Farhana, you're right. Failure is not how hard you fail, but failure is how quickly you get up and continue. Excellent. So David Kelly is also talking here some of the core strategies to develop growth mindsets. So can I please request everybody to have a pen and a paper or iPad or whatever notes-taking instrument that you have. Take notes, write very short, just notes about these 3 stories which this David Kelly is sharing. So I will request Ms. Dua if you can please share the screen and open this video. Thank you. Enjoy.
I wanted to talk to you today about creative confidence. I'm going to start way back in the 3rd grade at Oakdale School in Barberton, Ohio. I remember one day my best friend Brian was working on a project. He was making a horse out of the clay that our teacher kept under the sink. And at one point, one of the girls that was sitting at his table, seeing what he was doing, leaned over and said to him, "That's terrible. That doesn't look anything like a horse." right? And Brian's shoulders sank, and he wadded up the clay horse, and he threw it back in the bin. I kind of never saw Brian do a project like that ever again. And I wonder how often that happens, you know? It seems like when I tell that story of Brian to my class, you see, a lot of them want to come up after class and tell me about their similar experience, how a teacher shut them down or how a student was particularly cruel to them. And they some kind of opt out of thinking of themselves as creative at that point, right? And I see that opting out that happens in childhood, and it moves in and becomes more ingrained even by the time you get to adult life. So we see a lot of this, you know, when we have a workshop or we have clients in to work with us side by side. Eventually we get to the point in the process that's kind of fuzzy or unconventional. And eventually these big shot executives whip out their BlackBerries and they say they have to make really important phone calls and they head for the exits. And they're just so uncomfortable. When we track them down and ask them what's going on, they say something like, "I'm just not the creative type." But we know that's not true. If they stick with the process, if they stick with it, they end up doing amazing things. And they surprise themselves just how innovative they and their teams really are. So I've been looking at this kind of fear of judgment that we have, you know, that you don't do things, you're afraid you're going to be judged. If you don't, you know, say the right creative thing, you're going to be judged. And I had a major breakthrough when I met the psychologist, Albert Bandura. I don't know if you know Albert Bandura, but if you go to Wikipedia, it says that he's the 4th most important psychologist in history, you know, like Freud, Skinner, somebody in Bandura. Bandura is 86 and he still works at Stanford. He's just a lovely guy. And so I went to see him because he's just worked on phobias for a long time, which I'm very interested in. He had developed this way, this kind of methodology that ended up curing people in a very short amount of time. Like in 4 hours, he had a huge cure rate of people who had phobias. And we talked about snakes. I don't know why we talked about snakes. We talked about snakes and fear of snakes as a phobia. And it was really enjoyable, really interesting. He told me that he'd invite the test subject in, and he'd say, "You know, there's a snake in the next room, and we're going to go in there." And to which he reported that most of them replied, "Hell no, I'm not going in there." Certainly if there's a snake in there. But Bandura has a kind of a step-by-step process that was super successful. So he'd take people to this like two-way mirror looking into the room where the snake was, and he'd get them comfortable with that. And then through a series of steps, he'd move them, and they'd be standing in the doorway with the door open, and they'd be looking in there, and he'd get them comfortable with that. And then many more steps later, kind of baby steps, they'd be in the room, they'd have like a leather glove, like a welder's glove on, and they'd eventually touch the snake. And when they touched the snake, everything was fine. They were cured. In fact, everything was better than fine. These people who had lifelong fears of snakes were saying things like, "Look how beautiful that snake is." And they were holding it in their laps, right? Bandura calls this process guided mastery. I love that term, guided mastery, right? And something else happened. These people who went through the process and touched the snake ended up having less anxiety about other things in their lives, right? They tried harder, they persevered longer, and they were more resilient in the face of failure, right? They just gained a new confidence. And Bandura calls that confidence self-efficacy, right? The sense that you can change the world and that you can attain what you set out to do. Well, meeting Bandura was really cathartic for me because I realized that this, famous scientist had documented and scientifically validated something that we've seen happen over, for the last 30 years, that we could take people who had the fear that they weren't creative, and we could take them through a series of steps, kind of like a series of small successes, and they turned kind of fear into familiarity, and they surprised themselves. The transformation is amazing. We see at the D School now all the time. People from all different kinds of disciplines, they think of themselves as only analytical. And they come in and they go through the process, our process, they build confidence, and now they think of themselves differently. And they're totally emotionally excited about the fact that they walk around thinking of themselves as a creative person, right? So I thought one of the things I'd do today is take you through, and show you what this journey looks like. To me, that journey looks like Doug Dietz. Doug Dietz is a technical person. He designs medical imaging equipment, large medical imaging equipment. He's worked for GE and he's had a fantastic career, but at one point he had a moment of crisis. He was in the hospital looking at one of his MRI machines in use when he saw a young family and his little girl. And that little girl was crying and was terrified. And Doug was really disappointed to learn that nearly 80% of the pediatric patients in this hospital had to be sedated in order to deal with this MRI machine, right? And this was really disappointing to Doug because before this time, he was proud of what he did. You know, he was saving lives with this machine, but it really hurt him to see the fear that this machine caused in kids. About that time, he was at the D School at Stanford taking classes. He was learning about our process, about design thinking, about empathy, about iterative prototyping. And he would take this new knowledge and do something quite extraordinary. He would redesign the entire experience of being scanned. And this is what he came up with. He turned it into an adventure for the kids. He painted the walls and he painted the machine and he got the operators retrained by people who know kids, like, children's museum people. And now, so when the kid comes, it's an experience. And they talk to him about the noise and the movement of the ship. And when they come, they say, okay, you're going to go into the pirate ship, but be very still because we don't want the pirates to find you. Right? And the results were super dramatic. Right? So from something like 80% of the kids needing to be sedated to something like 10% of the kids needing to be sedated. And the hospital and GE were happy too because you didn't have to call the anesthesiologist all the time, they could put more kids through the machine in a day. So the quantitative results were great. But Doug's results that he cared about were much more qualitative. He was with one of the mothers waiting for her child to come out of the scan, and when the little girl came out of her scan, she ran up to her mother and said, "Mommy, can we come back tomorrow?" Right? And so I've heard Doug tell the story many times of his personal transformation and the breakthrough design that happened from it. But I've never really seen him tell the story of the little girl without a tear in his eye.
This is an excellent TED Talk, and I would definitely, encourage all of you to watch it at your own time. It is interesting. In fact, it tells the third story as well. Yeah, it is beautiful. And I think all these stories that he tells in this video are very emotional. You're right, Rana. And yes, I'll definitely share the link, with you. In fact, it is there in the presentation. We will request Dr. Fateh when sending the material, if this whole presentation is shared with you. I'd be very happy to share these things. So 2 stories, right? Both of them are extremely powerful. Let's talk about the first one. Can somebody unmute yourself? And let's do the first one. Can somebody unmute yourself and tell me about guided mastery? What exactly, David Kelly is talking about guided mastery, and what is this step-by-step approach that we can use to overcome our fear? I would like to have one, at least, person to unmute yourself and take the turn. You can raise your hand and Umar can help you to talk, unmute yourself and talk. First story, the story of snake. Yeah, I can see in the chat box, it says similar to scaffolding. That's right, Usama, it was more a scaffolding approach. Neither an emotional story. Yes, Umar, do we have anybody to talk?
Hey, Ma, you can talk.
It's a very good story because We have these stories every day in the classes. We have, for example, selective mute students who don't like to talk, or students who are very shy. It's difficult to just let me tell you, like, you drop them from the sky in the classroom and they have to cope with all the fears what they have. So this approach, step by step, this is what we usually do in the classroom, and we step by step build confidence in them so they can speak, or they can uh, open themselves and to be socialized and to talk with other students and with their teachers. So we
Thank you.
as a teacher have to understand their fears, and let us begin from our own experience, because all of us, we have some kind of fears.
Yeah, thank
So
you. Thanks a lot for
when
this.
when we are patient, and we have to be very understandable and very soft and tender, and build the trust in the students step by step, so we can give them chance to express themselves, and to show their talents and their what they actually what they to broke their fears.
Thank you, Hima. Thank you so much for summarizing the key message from this video very well. I really like the word Osama also used in the chat box, and Hima, I think you are also referring to the same word concept, scaffolding. Yeah, what is the scaffolding approach? When a child is small, when you have a toddler and he's kind of started walking, you would let the child walk, but at the same time you will stand very close to that child. When the child newly learned to walk, for example, you make sure that he doesn't fall down. You don't hold his hand all the time. You let him or her walk, hold something, walk on his own, but you stay there to make sure that if anything happens, you are there to quickly grab the child and let not the child fall, right? Scaffolding approach is like this. How can we be there with the children? How can we be there to build their experiences, provide them opportunity, and help them do it step by step approach, slowly and slowly. Not that okay, today after Miss Rubina's session I will go try skydiving. Please don't do it. Yeah, I don't want you to go to skydiving. Maybe you can go take the roller coaster first, or maybe some other experience which is similar to skydiving. Sorry, I'm not a very sports person, so I may not be able to guide you better what is a step-by-step approach for skydiving. But I'm pretty sure before you go and swim in the or dive in the sea, Indian Ocean, for to see the fish, I would suggest you learn it from the swimming pool, or maybe in your bathtub, and then go to the swimming pool, and then go to the beach, and then try those Indian Ocean diving experience, right? So great concept. He's talking here about that. I like what Fatima is saying, that admit to some phobic, tendency of wearing intensity, and helping the learners to achieve his or her potential by offering gradual approach. I like, Osama, the way you're unpacking now, your concept of scaffolding. It's like riding a bicycle, Farhana is saying. Started with training wheels and then having these removed step by step. Absolutely. I think this is, Farhana, this is a very good analogy that you're using, that scaffolding is riding a bicycle. You have a training wheel, and then you remove it, and then you go your 100 meters and whatever. We should control our fears and don't let it control us. Oh, that's a good one. Safa, you're saying that we should control our fears, let our fears not control us. And we can do this by experiencing step by step, slowly and gradually. Flexible learning environment. That's very nice, Gada. I think that's a very good point that you're saying, that flexible learning environment increases students' self-confidence, right? So how can you say, fine, if it's not working out today, let's watch this video. Or if the video is not working out, let's do artwork. Let's go play outside. How can we be flexible in what we do, right? As teachers, have acute misgiving and suffer chronic distress. Yes, like a baby. Yeah, Naveen is saying that like a baby, when he starts walking, he needs to overcome his fear step by step. It's exposure theory. Somebody looks like you are master in guided mastery. Great conversation, and teaching them resilience. Wow, Chairman, this is important. Teaching them resilience. Yeah, how can we develop resilience? And I think in this COVID time, this has become a very powerful disposition that anybody should have. Right? Provide them different choices. Absolutely, I think flexible approach. Provide them different choices. Give them subtasks. Some people abandon recreational activities because fears and all. Right, I think that's a very well articulated concern. Thank you so much. I would like to talk about now the second and my favorite story, which this David Kelly is talking in his video. So let's talk about the second story, which was about the redesigning the experience. We'll skip this Minty just in the interest of time, because we have already talked about it, right? So let's sorry, I would go one step back, and I would like to talk about this. What was the story of MRI, and what exactly is the redesigning experiences? Can you think of any examples from our world where things have been redesigned, and it has kind of worked out better for others? Yeah. uh, I would like one person to talk. Maybe not Hema this time. Maybe somebody else who has not spoken so far. If you can tell me what is whole story of MRI that he's talking, David Kelly is talking, and what is this redesigning experiences? How does it help? Can you give me some example? Omar, do we have anybody with the hand raised whom we can ask, unmute and ask to talk? Okay, so in the meanwhile, let me read from the chat box. It says, give them more tasks to do by themselves. Redesign of classrooms. Yeah, how can you redesign the classroom? So look at our university. I welcome you all to come to Abu Dhabi University. We have a beautiful innovation center, and this is the center of attraction for everybody. Everyone wants to study because we have in there, because it's a beautiful redesigned classroom. That makes a big difference. Welcoming environment. Okay, welcoming environment. Okay, attract them first. Change the way you think. To find new ideas is taking a negative experience and turn it into a positive one. Shama, while you're talking, what I'm thinking about. So my son, whom I wanted to give, vitamins, and how difficult these children are when you give vitamin syrups and all. And I was like, oh my God, is there any easy way to do it? And I found the easy way. I went to supermarket and I bought those gummy bears, those gummy bears, the vitamin gummy bears. And now I have to stop him to eat gummy bears, because, he eats like 10 gummy bears in a day, right? It should be 4 or 5. So I think the whole experience of redesigning is making a big difference, right? So look at the, let's say, oh yeah, there's one more example of my son that I can give you. When he was a child, he always was afraid of haircut. It was very difficult for us to hold and all. How nightmare, those who are parents, how nightmare it can give, when children are not happy with the haircut experience. And then we found this sweet cut, all this children's, salons that we have, where they have Tom and Jerry, they have a nice Barney seat, and they have, all this cartoon around. So how this whole, so now he wants to cut his hair at least twice in a month. He doesn't have any hair at all, because he wants to cut every 15 days. So taking, yes, I like, Marwa, what you are saying is that, how we take feedback and constantly improve in our experiences and keep redesigning it, because we know that redesigning gives them a good experience. I like what this person is saying. I can't see the name, but it says Galaxy 130, A30. Maybe this is the phone. So he says redesign the test and the exam. I think absolutely, and I'm glad that you are now applying your learning in your context and seeing how can we redesign the whole assessment, from assessment for gatekeeping to assessment for learning, let's say. How can we redesign their experience of classroom learning? You know, the whole concept of flipped classroom as a big kind of transformation, right? So so Marwa is saying, I always ask my students, how can I make my lessons better for them and give them some interesting ideas? Redesigning activities according to children's interests, not one size fits all. Excellent point. Thank you so much for bringing this. When students play, learn, do, experiment, they learn. Absolutely. Be a good listener, Shaima is saying. Your students, keep encouraging them, praise them, welcome mistakes, welcome failures. Thank you, Marwa, for bringing this up. Keep changing teaching methods and techniques. Yes, how can you redesign your whole teaching experience? Look at this. I am sitting here in front of my laptop and teaching 300 students. It is a redesign of the entire teaching and learning, which we never thought, 1 year before that would be, was possible to do in this way, in this short time. I know the future was always this, but we didn't know that in 1 year, we will be able to educate thousands of people, in through just one room. I have nothing here, no one here, and I'm talking to my computer, but I've got 300 people sitting in front of me. This is the redesigning experience, right? How can we redesign our emotional experience of children in the classroom? Excellent point, Christine. Thank you so much for bringing this. Look at their interest. What is appealing to them? Consider their ideas, consider their pain points. What is something which they like, something they don't like? I like somebody said, constantly feedback. How can we engage ourselves in getting constant feedback? How can we be creative and attract students' attention? And that is the redesigning experience, right? How David Kelly said that, the children who go to MRI, they had to be sedated. It was time consuming. It was painful. Children cry, parents cry. You only can do few MRI in a day. The whole experience of this MRI machine, by converting into an adventurous ride, changed this entire thing, right? So I think now, and you heard, it was a very beautiful stage when the girl said, Mommy, can I come here again tomorrow? Now that's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Curriculum modification. Yes, Magdalene, if I'm pronouncing your name correct, curriculum modification is important. Redesign is just to think about the same thing, but in another way, comfortable way. Absolutely right. Yeah. Can somebody give me any redesigning experience from our daily life? Like I gave you the example from the salon, I gave you the gummy bear. Anything else that you see around you and you say, wow, this redesigning has brought the total, yeah, turning games into fun lessons. Absolutely. Wajida. Yes, turning games into fun lessons, so the experience can never be forgettable. Absolutely. Yeah. Great. I'm super happy here and with all this interesting things. So let's move to the next slide, and I will skip the mentee question here. Thank you, Ms. Dua. Yes, let's go next. So let's skip this. This video, I think it will also be unfair if we don't talk about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And this person in front of you, she is the guru of growth mindsets. Yeah, Carol Dweck. If you write growth mindsets, I'm pretty sure, I'm very confident that the first 10 sites that you will have will be from Carol Dweck, because she has coined this word, I would say. And she has played a significant role in making this whole thinking of growth mindset in education possible, right? So I think we will watch this video. Yes, I like Bilal Pediatric Clinic is a great example, and the way they are kind of redesigning this. My students, as I said, I teach innovation. So my students, took up one of the projects where they redesigned the cancer patients, children cancer ward. They completely redesigned it. So I think these experiences are extremely important. Okay, I will stop here. I will ask you to take notes while you're watching this video. It's a beautiful video and you would love it. And this talks about fixed mindset versus growth mindsets. So after this, we'll quickly talk about it. We'll not watch the whole video. We'll stop in between just in the interest of time, and then we'll move to our virtual role plays after this. Yeah. So Ms. Dua, can you please play this video? Thank you.
Thank you. Today, I want to tell you about the power of yet. I learned of a high school in Chicago where students had to pass 84 units to graduate. And if they didn't pass, they got the grade not yet. I thought, isn't that wonderful? Because if you fail, you're nowhere. But if you get the grade not yet, you're on a learning curve. Not yet gave them a path into the future. And not yet also helped me understand a critical experience early in my career. To figure out how kids coped with challenge, I gave 10-year-olds some problems that were a little too difficult for them. Some of them reacted in a shockingly positive way. They said things like, "I love a challenge," or "I was hoping this would be informative." They understood that their abilities could grow through their hard work. They had what I call a growth mindset. But other children, for them it was tragic, catastrophic. From their more fixed mindset perspective, their core intelligence had been tested and devastated. Instead of the power of yet, they were gripped by the tyranny of now. So, what did they do next? In one study, after a failure on a test, they said they'd cheat next time instead of study more. In another study, they found someone who did worse than they did so they could feel better. And in many studies, we found they run from difficulty. Let's look at how that looks in the brain. Mosher and his colleagues measured from the brain as kids encountered errors. Processing the error shows up in red. If you look at the fixed mindset brain on the left, nothing is happening. But if you look at the growth mindset brain on the right, it's on fire with yet. They're processing the error deeply, learning from it, and correcting it. So, how are we raising our kids? Are we raising them for now or for yet? Are they focused on the next A or test score instead of dreaming big, instead of thinking about what they want to be and how they want to contribute to society? And if they are too focused on A's and test scores, are they going to carry this with them into the future? Maybe because many employers are coming to me and saying, we've already created a generation of young workers who can't get through the day without an award. So, what can we do? How can we build that bridge to yet? First, we can praise wisely. Our research shows that when we praise kids for the process they engage in, their hard work, their strategies, their focus, their perseverance, they learn that challenge seeking, they learn that resilience. Praising talent, praising intelligence makes them vulnerable. There are other ways of rewarding yet. We teamed up with game scientists at the University of Washington to create a math game, Brain Points. The typical math game rewards right answers right now, but not brain points. We rewarded process and the learning curve, so effort, strategy, and progress. The Brain Points game created more sustained learning and greater perseverance than the standard game. And just the words yet and not yet after a student has a setback, we're finding creates greater confidence and greater persistence. We also can change students' mindsets directly. In one study, we taught students that every time they pushed out of their comfort zone to learn something really, really hard and they stuck to it, the neurons in their brain could form new, stronger connections, and over time, they could become smarter. Those who learned this lesson showed a sharp increase in their grades. Those who did not showed a decrease. We have done this with thousands of students now across the country with similar results, especially for struggling students. So let's talk about equality. In our country, there are groups of kids who chronically show poor performance, and many people think that's inevitable. But when educators create growth mindset environments steeped in yet, equality can happen. Let me just give you a few small examples. One teacher took her Harlem kindergarten class, many of whom could not hold a pencil for the first month, through daily tantrums. She took them to the 95th percentile on the National Achievement Test. That same teacher took a 4th grade class in the South Bronx, way behind. She took them to the top of New York State on the state math test. That teacher is a Stanford grad, and she's here today.
Great, wonderful. I hope you all enjoyed. Please take your time to watch this video. I'll be very happy to share the link. It is in the presentation, and I'm sure you'll find this very easily, this video. Carol Dweck, right? A big name in growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Can we think of some of the examples of, yeah, thank you so much. So here you go. So let me ask you to go to your mentee and answer this question. What are the ways we hinder growth mindsets in our students? So here is your link, and I would like you to give me examples of how do we hinder, how do we block growth mindsets? So she's talking about growth mindsets and fixed mindset, right? So what do we do that stops children to think, develop their growth mindsets? Can we see some of those points here? Mm-hmm. Okay, our fixed mindset, they don't want to work and they will not work. Passing or failing is definitely a good example. Rote learning, limiting challenges, praise, change mindset, retrain and your brain by noticing 3 positive changes per day. Yeah, we're talking here about what hinder growth mindsets. Yeah, so what is something? Okay, negative comments, discouragements, judgment. You can't do it. Absolutely, you can't do it. One's intelligence can be grown or developed with persistence. Okay, this is something that we'll see in the next one. Looking only at grades but not skills. Give them show. Okay, limiting challenges. Curriculum, sometimes I understand there are so many limitations in our curriculum that also hinder their growth mindsets. Negative criticisms, absolutely. Encourage them to express their, okay, this is a way we will see it in the next slide. Dishonor, dislike, putting them down, not challenging them, negative reinforcement, frustration. I like what you said, frustration. There are teachers who come in the class with all this frustration and say, oh my God, this is not happening, that is not happening. You guys never do this. You have not done the exam right. Everybody's failed. The exam was all this, family and social life and all this frustration on children it stops them to think any positive, right? So yes, wrong suggestions, negative feedback, limiting their experiences based on high stakes tests and grades. Yeah, I think as fixed assessments, pass or fail assessment, multiple choice, memorization, no questioning. Yeah, the change from now. I like this. Somebody said change from now to yet. So yeah, I think these are some of the great, the examples here, the way we can hinder the growth mindset. Let's see now the flip side of it. So if you go to the next slide, Ms. Dua, where I would like you to now talk about your strategies. So now we know, everything about what hinders their growth mindsets. So now let's talk about how can we develop growth mindsets? Okay, raise expectations, absolutely. What else? Challenge them, praise them, allow them to make mistakes. Beautiful point, beautiful point. Allow them to make mistakes, give them opportunity to fail and learn from their failure. Let's celebrate failures, right? Let's celebrate failures. This is interesting. I'm telling you, sometimes, I give you one example. A few days back, and I was doing this example to my students, few days back, I got an invitation for a divorce party. Yeah, I know it's not a very good example. I just thought of it. How divorce used to be a taboo. How divorce used to be a label. Yeah, if you are divorcee, they would not give you jobs. They would not include you in many things in society. But today, divorce party, right? Let's celebrate my freedom. I'm just kidding here. I mean, the way this example comes, absolutely help them, celebrate their failure, help them learn from their mistakes, help provide them opportunity to experience new things, encourage them, remind them to think outside the box. I like it. Whoop, whoop. Whoever said this, woo-hoo. Give them confidence, motivate them, thinking skills, help them explore, build resilience. I love this word which you are saying, build resilience in your teaching, through your teaching. Praise them, give them chance to learn from their mistakes. I think all of these are beautiful, beautiful expressions here. Cultivate the sense of failures is just cultivate the sense of failure. Failure is just the first step towards success. Excellent. I am in love with all what you're writing here, with this beautiful thinking, and I think I can see that all this. Yes, allow them the ability to choose. Be flexible teachers. Yeah, don't be rigid teacher. No, this is the way. This is the only way you can do it, and this is the only way you will succeed. That's where I think fixed mindsets come in. Teach them how to evaluate themselves, assess them, accepting and embracing them, and not labeling them. Please do not label them. And this is what we will do in our role plays now. I think this is super, super good. The Matrix movie quote, there is no spoon, you can do it. Good one, Ayman. Yeah. Help parents understand that failure is natural and necessary parts of learning. I like parental role in doing this, Margaret. I think this is absolutely needed. Yeah, let them solve the equation. No pain, no gain. Shaima, you hit the nail. Very, very, very well said. Thank you so much. Okay. Now comes the most fun part of our presentations. So I will skip these 2 slides and we'll go to the role plays. We are going to do a virtual role play. This is what we are going to do. So there are case studies and I want you to do role plays. Now you all are sitting in different places in the world, but still you will do the role plays. So what will happen is that I will give you a scenario, and in that scenario, you will see there are 2 roles. So anybody can take role number 1 and anybody can take role number 2. And I would encourage you to please participate in the role play. We will have real fun doing that. Yeah. And you will tell me that, how will you behave? What will be your explanation like? So in order for us all to understand how this will be done, Ms. Dua and myself will do a role play here. Okay, we'll do a role play here, and then I would put some case studies for you, and I would ask you to do the role play. Somebody can become a teacher, somebody can become the other teacher, or whatever the role this role play defines, right? So this first scenario where Ms. Dua is okay. Let me not release this, right? Maybe Ms. Dua wants to keep the secret what she's going to talk here. So Ms. Dua,
I'm ready.
and we can show how this virtual role plays will be done.
Okay, I'm ready, Ms. Rubina. Let's Start
Let's
and action.
Sure, action.
Oh, Mr. Rubina, hi, how are you? I'm really tired of those students. I'm really tired of teaching. They don't know even how to think. What's this?
What happened? Tell me, Dua. Why do you think that
Mr. Rubina, they don't know how to think. Sometimes I doubt that they are listening even to me. I need to give them everything ready, like I'm giving them a cake or something. I'm done of them. I really want to finish. I'm going to give them the information, test them, and give them their grades. That's it.
Yeah. No, Miss Dua, I totally understand your frustration. Sometimes, we feel that, students are not thinking or they don't want to think. But what has helped in my situation is that I've always, given them some topics, and I've asked them to kind of, explore. And when they choose their own topic, sometimes giving choices to students allow them to think, because it is their comfort zone and they like to talk about the topic. Flexibility,
No,
that
I
approach.
don't think so. No. I tried everything. I tried everything. There is no way, no solution. Those students, they don't know even how to, how to think about it. They don't want to bother themselves. No way, Ms. Rubina. I tried everything. I gave up. That's it.
Yeah, but sometimes I feel, Ms. Dua, that we give too much into our students, and then they're tired and they really don't want to use their cognitive skills, and they just give up, and they do whatever you give, the ready-made answers, or you give whatever the ready-made the
No.
content.
Really, Mr. Rubina, I'm sorry. I'm open, but I cannot take this advice. Let me tell you why. Because I thought a lot of times to give them, and there is no way. There is no way to change this. I'm gonna give them their marks, and khalas, nothing will happen more. I don't think that they're gonna change.
How about Ms. Dua? Let's try this. Let's try this approach. Let's say for some time you don't assess them. Remove the assessment, let's say. So right now, all the learning that you do is only for the learning purpose and not for the marks purpose, let's say. Can we try, maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks where no assessment, and then, let's, create those experiences for them. Maybe we can do one day, we can do game-based learning. Other day,
No, Mr. Bina, I don't have time for games. I need to finish my curriculum. I have lots. I cannot waste my time on letting them play. They are playing outside. No, let them study. I have to finish my curriculum. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Bina. There is no way. I know. Yeah, thank you.
Here you see, thank you so much, Ms. Dua. That was fabulous.
Okay.
Thank you. So you see that Ms. Dua has that fixed mindset. You're right. Ms. Dua has that fixed mindset, and that is the only way. And nothing can help. Nothing can help. I gave her choices, right? I told her that let's give them exam-free environment. I told them give them fun classroom. All this, or give them, be flexible. I gave them so many approaches for growth mindset, but Ms. Dua has that typical fixed mindset that is not allowing her to think outside the box. Okay, let's see this scenario number 1, and I would like someone to become teacher. So this is a scenario. Let me read for you. You observe that your colleague teacher always gets to a quick stereotypical judgment for students, such as, my ex-student is very slow, my Y student is very lazy, or whatever you want to say. You can think about that, right? And then you happen to have a friendly conversation with the teacher. You thought it's a good opportunity to explain that what he or she is doing is not right, and what will you cover in your, so tell me, what will you cover in your explanation? Okay, so one teacher who has a fixed mindset, who will be very stereotypical judgment teacher. My students are lazy, or they're dumb, they're duffer, whatever you want to call, you can say. And the other teacher will talk about that, how can you get rid of this fixed mindset and become the growth mindset person. Yeah. So while I'm reading Pramajit's comment here and other comments, I would like to, somebody to unmute or raise your hand so Umar can give you a chance to speak. So Pramajit has said, Rubina, this is very good reason for your existence. You should be happy that your presence is required. Just be with them. Listen to the students. Feel blessed when I get such students. I need to challenge myself. I thank God for giving me such students where I can use my strategies. I like it. I really like it. Rasha is saying, do we have luxury to teach without assessments? And Amreen is saying we need to accept and adapt. Beautiful point, Amreen. Thank you so much for bringing this. Hima is saying, use Kaggle structure in class and it's so fun and successful. Somebody S here is starting with S, you know, the person is saying, I gave her my experience with same ability students. The good thing about hitting rock bottom, there is only one way left to go, and that's up. It's important to set your own learning goals according to your class. I give my experience with same ability. Okay, wonderful, beautiful. So Umar, do we have anybody's hand up? Do we have anybody who can do this role play for us, who can become a teacher? Who is?
I just allow Miss Lina and Niveen.
Okay.
Both of them, they are able to talk now.
Excellent, excellent. So let's do it. Miss Lina, and who is the other name you said?
Niveen.
Niveen. Okay, Miss Lina and Miss Niveen, the floor is yours. Miss Lina, would you become the first teacher with the stereotypical, and Niveen, can you become the one who would do the friendly conversation with Lina? You can unmute and you can start. Yeah, can you unmute yourself and you can start the conversation?
Okay, I think Ms. Lina or Niveen, you can unmute yourself and you start talk.
Can you mention the family name of Lina?
Sorry. Okay, then I think Niveen, you are not unmuting, so we will allow anyone who would like to participate.
My name is Lina, but I don't know. You want me to share? That's fine with me. I don't mind.
Yeah,
okay.
Do it.
I will just allow also Fatima. Fatima.
Yeah, hello.
Fatima,
Hi.
yes.
But which part do you want me to take? The complainer or the advisor?
I will be the advisor, please.
You want me to be the advisor? Okay, so I'll be the complainer. I'll be the bad teacher that complain about the students all of the time.
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Your good name, please?
Fatin.
Fatin. Okay. Good morning, Fatin. How are you today?
How are you? I'm fine, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. You know, today I have a test for my class. And really, I hope that they will do well. I put a lot of pressure yesterday on them, and I told them to study and to memorize all of the information I gave it to them in the class. Hopefully, I want to see a good marks this time, because all of the time, I just input and give them all of the information, and at the end I get nothing. I don't know what's wrong with them. I put a lot of effort. I spend a lot of time giving them and feed them all of the information by spoon even. I don't know what do they want at the end.
You know, I think that you should change according to their learning styles. You know, I feel that there are individual differences between students of your class. So maybe you're using a monotone learning teaching style. You should diversify this one. Have you ever tried this method?
Yeah, I tried one time, but they did not cooperate also. I'm very stressful.
You know, once I had a class which also sometimes they disappointed me in their assessment results, although I'm giving them my best and I'm doing my best for them to be productive. But what I did is that I brought the low grades, and I said that these grades are not important. What's important is that you should do your best as I am doing. So if this is your best, do you accept that these grades are your best? So they felt that they're not doing their best in their exams, and they tried to be more productive, especially that I told them that the marks are unimportant, and what's important is that you should grow, you should have the growth mindset.
Excellent. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. You know that this is a good advice for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to just add something. I wrote it on the chat board. Something that I experienced with I teach KG state. In my opinion, the most important thing is to be a friend. If you become a friend, you win.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
If you become a good friend, that they feel that you like them, you love them, and I'm here to help, not to judge.
Yes, yes.
And put your effort down. Whatever effort you will put, I will appreciate. Just try to improve. Try to do your best.
Yeah.
If you just give them this impression and this feeling, I think that they will be great.
Yeah. Thank you, Lena. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This was beautifully done. Role playing. Did you ever think that you would be? I don't know where you are sitting, Fatin, and where are you, Lena? You are from. But look at the virtual world. We are doing role plays online. So I think some very, very important messages that you are giving. Lena, Fatin, you talked about multiple intelligence. I think this is very important. Yeah. How do we understand the children come with different multiple intelligence? I really like this, Shaima. I also like what Lena was talking about, relationship. How can you be a friend to your students rather than you be the giver of knowledge and students are the receiver of knowledge, right? How can we both be partners in learning? So we both are friends. That relationship matters so much. Fatin, I also liked what you said is how can we give exam-free kind of environment, and that I really think yes, there are limitations, curriculum, assessment dates, semester boards and accreditation and all those limitations. But when you close your door in the classroom, you and your learners, you both are there to learn from each other. Provide those experiences which they will never get anywhere else from outside. Yeah, you teacher and learners are partners in learning. How can you engage yourself in constructing your learning experiences and constructing your knowledge rather than thinking that, oh, this is the knowledge I give you and you get it. I think that approach is very redundant now. Extremely good role play. Thank you, Fatin and Lina, once more. Let's go to the scenario number 2, Ms. Dua. So the second scenario says that you met a new teacher who believes that intelligence is fixed. So meaning intelligence is not everybody can be intelligent. You are born intelligent. If you are born intelligent, then you are intelligent. There is no other way that intelligence can be nurtured. It is only by nature. Yeah. So you happen to have a friendly conversation with that teacher, and you thought it is a good opportunity to explain that what he or she believes is not right. What will you cover in your explanation? Can we have 2 people doing this role play? Can you please raise your hand so Omar can give you a chance to speak? If you will not nominate yourself,
good evening.
Go ahead, please.
This is Fatima, and I would like to be someone who gives, let's say, the argumentative lady who gives persuades the lady that think it's not fixed or the intelligence is not fixed.
Okay, so somebody who can complain about this. Oh, intelligence is oh, you want to do that role, and you want to play the role of advisor to you. Okay, can we have somebody who can advise to Fatima?
Your mic is open now. You can't talk.
Okay. I will be a second one who can be friendly conversation with the teacher.
Okay, let's start.
Okay, Fatima, yeah? You are first?
Yeah, so the problem is that you are complaining maybe about thinking that students' intelligence is fixed. So there's a certain quantity for students to reach up. That's what you think. So I think this is wrong. Because it's impractical to think so, and it's you are saying that students might not be productive, so they are unproductive. So why not trying to educate students as they struggle? You have to be aware that in terms of brain, okay, it's not in terms of size of the brain or the shape of the box student think in. So let's say, are we, myself and yourself, equal in experiences and opportunities? What do you think?
I think that we are not equal in experience. First,
So
everybody of us learn in different way. Example, some students learning through the movements, some students learning through the music, some students learning where are independent or when they are alone. Some students learning through the nature and through the environment. So for each child, when we have example bunch of 20 children in the classroom, we as a teacher through observation can observe and learn their way of learning. So this is how we have to adapt the classroom according to their intelligence. Example, if some persons are very social and they like to move and go from friend to friend and chit chat, and this is why I write Kagan structure. Kagan structure allow the students to move in the classroom and to interact with each other and learn according to their intelligence. If I learning visually, so I need to see something, and if I learning through the movement, so then I need to touch or to feel or to experience that knowledge, so I can apply that knowledge. For example, it is different when you take two children and you tell them make lemonade, and if I show to the children how they make lemonade, they will learn much more faster than the student which I just give them theoretically how to make lemonade. That's my point of view. And that's what I experienced through my teaching in the classroom. Then also it is important how the teacher will approach the students. If I approach them just blah, 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 I think that the children will not have much benefit of my blah, 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 blah. Because once and always we have to return to our childhood, how we learn and what was the best lesson we have in our classroom. Example, I had great history teacher, and what is for most children difficult subject because it is a lot of memorizing dates and names and places. But he was my biggest teacher. He
Miss
taught
Emma,
me.
you have already taken my role play part. That's what is intelligent. It's an intelligent thing that you have done. So, which says that we don't think in the same way and we don't have the same capacity that you said. So if I give a student a scarf in the class and I told them, how can you differently use this? You can see a leveled intelligence and a leveled gap between one another. So it's not fixed, as you said. Thank you for taking my role.
Sorry, I thought that in the beginning we make a deal to make I will be second. Okay, no problem. Okay,
maybe you didn't hear me. It's fine. Such a pleasure.
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Hima. This was beautiful. And now, this shows that now this is the success of this role play, that both of them are talking growth mindset, right? Instead of talking so now no more complaints, because we learned, David Kelly, we learned Carol Dweck, we learned all these discussions with each other. And I think this role is so important. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to both of you because you both are talking growth mindsets, right? So we all have various ways of developing growth mindsets. So no more complaint. That's where we are ending today here. I thoroughly enjoyed this role play. I have got 2 more scenarios, but just for the interest of time, I want to end on time. Just to summarize, you have an assessment in your folder, assessment folder, where you will be reflecting on these case studies and you will be writing your reflection based on these guidelines. Based on this, I will stop here. I know Dr. Fatea has an announcement for you, but before I did that, I would like to ask if there is any question that you have. Feel free to write it in the chat box. We all are here, and I will request my colleagues wherever we can respond to these questions. So you feel free to write your questions in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask. I don't know if you want that. Thank you so much. This is the end from my part.
Thank you, Ms. Rubina. It's really a great, informative, engaged, and those role play was amazing since we are on the virtual mode, but it worked. So thanks a lot for that. It's really appreciated, and I hope that our colleagues enjoyed it. Like I really enjoyed the session and benefited from it a lot. I like the learning from failure. Like it's an approach. So I think our teacher they should apply this approach. And I read previously an article from Harvard Business Review about it, which really it's giving a great impact. Colleagues, just I want to remind you with two things. The first thing is related to the certificate. I think maybe some of you still confused about this. We have two types of certificate. The first one is a completion certificate, in which if you want to get the completion certificate, you need to submit the reflection task after each module. We give you a deadline for that till 7th of February, which is a long time. So if you finished it like according to the module, I'm sure you will have like last module will be having just a couple of days to finish it and submit it to us. Then the certificate will be sent to you by email after 7th of February. If anyone asking when we will receive our certificate. The second type of certificate is just an attendance certificate. For the one who choose not to submit a reflection or the task, he is free to do that. Just he will take an attendance certificate. This is the first announcement. The second announcement related to those reflections. When you enter to your to Abu Dhabi University community portal using your email and password that's sent by our colleagues from EDU community investment, you will find those reflections after each module. Enter to it, and then you will find an option to submit a folder or a file, or to type your answer there and then submitting it. So I hope now it's clear for you. And if there's any question or any more explanation about this, we are happy to hear that from you and through the emails or through our IT team. And we hope that you enjoyed our sessions, and we'll see you inshallah on the coming modules. Thank you all. And thanks a lot again, Ms. Rubina, for the interactive and great module. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Fatea. Thank you, everybody, for your participation.
Thank you for everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.